when you were growing up, Daniel, did you play a lot of video games?
Yeah, I played a huge amount of hours to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh, have you been playing the classic WoW that came out last week?
I don't play World of Warcraft anymore.
No more time. Good idea. Stay away from it.
Yeah.
I know if I grab that game, I will spend in like the next 3 months just playing it.
Exactly.
Maybe just 3 months. So I just can't afford that anymore. Yes, I can't.
Yeah.
I can report to you, yeah, it's just as addicting as it was 15 years ago. It's
You know,
just as awesome.
the thing is, I was how to say it? I was a hardcore player back in Vanilla WoW. I used to raid extra mass at the end, and it was exhausting. Then I went to Border Crusade and also spent a huge amount of hours being a paladin in the Horde.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just started to slowly playing less and less and less. But because for me, the best raids in the game were when there was 40 people in it.
Oh, of course.
That was I'm guessing if I play again, I will be extremely addicted to it. So just stay away from it.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the game, what people are just now, because the video game industry has gotten so greedy, and so they're maximizing profits over game experience, right? But back in the day, the reason why WoW was so revolutionary was the community aspect of that game. Yeah. But nowadays, games are more focused on selling mobile products or like microtransactions with loot boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
which is a big gray area these days.
So has the game changed in that in from a monetizing standpoint? Classic WoW, has it added loot boxes and any of that stuff?
No, it's the exact same game.
Oh, it's the exact same game.
They literally just copied the code from the original game and just relaunched it on new servers, essentially.
So hold on. So let me understand. So it's the exact same game. Like the visuals haven't even been upgraded.
I think there was a small upgrade in the visuals, but it's the same game. Like all the patches that are being released are coming in the same order as they did in 2004. Everything's the same.
Wow, that's shocking, dude.
Stay away, Daniel. Yeah. It's like a drug. It really is.
I know. It's like a drug, man. Let me tell you. The main reason that I'm talking to you guys right now is because I play that fucking game. Yes, because when I started playing it, like in 2004. It was only in English. There was no Spanish translation to the game.
Oh, that's
I had
crazy.
to play
the
fucking game with a dictionary next to my
Wow,
keyboard.
that's amazing.
Because, back then the internet was super slow. And someone called you're fucked.
Yeah.
You couldn't just Google it as easy as right now. So I had to play with a dictionary and try to understand the other guys talking to me because I was addicted to the game. And I figured out that it was multiplayer game, and I don't know. It's just too much.
No, that obviously attracted you to the virtual reality space that you're in today too. I feel like because there's so many correlations. World of Warcraft, I think, is one of the biggest virtual experiences that humanity's created.
I can believe it.
That communal aspect that it was. It's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't tried it.
I have not tried it, Daniel. I think when it first came out, I think I was starting college, so I was like, my mind was like somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a kid. I failed too many exams. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was 14 when the game was released.
Me too. Same age. So you're about 29, 30, something like that.
Yeah, 29 in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Sure. So we kind of understand using World of Warcraft as like a baseline of what do you want to call it? I don't want to call it addiction, but immersion. Like that is the perfect example of a game that created an immersive universe for players to really get hooked into, and in many cases prioritize their online experience over their real life existence. You know what I mean?
Right.
So virtuality is the next step, the next phase of that.
See, I would agree with that. I think that there's a phase before that. I think that's going to really take over. Imagine. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up, Daniel, is imagine all that time you spent playing WoW back in the day. Mm-hmm. That time spent had earned you NFTs.
Yeah.
Where those NFTs could have been reused right now in this new game, right? Well, rehashed, same game.
You remember Thunder Fury, the Blessed?
Yeah, of course. I remember one guy in my server back in the day sold his account for $10,000.
Oh,
damn.
I mean, the thing is, NFTs bring like fair trade to items. It doesn't mean that it's new. People was buying items
That's a
back
good
in
point.
Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and they were already doing market with them. The thing is that you are not doing their transactions and safe transactions.
So that's I totally agree. You're absolutely right. You could have still sold your account for, like you're saying, $10,000. I think there's an added factor when it comes to NFTs from a developer's perspective.
yeah.
That item that you're talking about may only exist 1 or 2 units of in the entire game.
Yeah, well, there are items like that in World of Warcraft. They're called what were they called? They're orange.
They're
Legendaries.
Legendary.
And they're very, very rare.
Yeah, but see, that's artificial scarcity, meaning the developers have put an artificial constraint within the game, and there's only so many of those items.
Yeah.
But when you put NFTs into or put NFT functionality into a game, there's not artificial scarcity. There is actual scarcity. There's only 2 of those items in the whole game, and so from a developer's perspective, you're putting extreme amount of value in an asset that you're creating, and once the user who happens to win this or earn this or by random roll, get this item, I mean, that's going to be extremely valuable. And then once you put that into a market like what's that NFT exchange? OpenSea, yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
Once you put it at OpenSea, then you can see the true market value of that asset.
Yeah.
I mean,
And with interoperability, it can be, good in one game or the next.
Yeah, exactly.
You can play with, that sword can be just as valuable in another game.
Yeah, and we were having this conversation where that one valuable sword that's really good in WoW, I mean, you could put that sword, as a developer, you could take that NFT and put that sword on top of a car for your racing game, just as for the looks.
Yeah.
And the notoriety that you have the one sword that everybody's looking for in WoW. But, things like that could break the game because you're the only one who can have it, and, it depends. But I have a feeling that kids growing up now and right now NFTs are not really prevailing in video games, but once they are, kids growing up now playing the next generation of WoW with NFTs, they're gonna be earning actual currency, cryptocurrency, in a sense that you won't have that feeling of time spent and lost in a video game anymore.
Yeah, no longer will parents chastise their kids. Who knows, a parent or a kid could get an item and pay off their parents' mortgage.
That's exactly right.
One day, it's a possibility, right? That hasn't been there
it's
before.
a possibility. Yeah.
So do you think we're gonna get there to that point?
I don't know. Maybe yes. The thing is, for example, now I'm playing a lot of time VR and VR chat, and I'm trying to play immersive games in VR. And I found out, for example, in VR chat, there are these small communities that behave very similar to the communities that I saw behaving in World of Warcraft when I was a kid.
Yes.
So I'm seeing these kids spending a lot of time into VR, right? So this kid as 14, 15, 12, the same age that I got hooked to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you are a kid and you got hooked into World of Warcraft VR. It's just you're going to just go bananas.
It's over.
I mean, the thing is, virtual reality can be really immersive.
Oh yeah.
I think it will bring some new questions like, who are you? If you're people will be spending more time into other realities than real life.
I haven't
so
really.
Eventually, people will be will be thinking if real life is actually real. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I haven't really thought about that though, Daniel. The philosophical standpoint from a virtual reality game. If you spend that much time in a virtual reality as a WoW game, your identity becomes that character now.
Oh yeah.
So you have less incentive to be outside in the real world where you're not as powerful, cool, or interesting.
I mean, it happened to me when I was a kid. I prefer to stay at home playing my warlock than just going out and having gears with everyone.
Yeah.
So imagine if now the warlock is in your headset and you just can play all the time and spending all the time into this game. So this is like a new level of immersion that we are seeing. So eventually people just, I think some of them will have trouble like figuring out if real life is
it's a bigger deal now because excuse me.
But also you got to keep in mind this phenomenon, this is really a social phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's not going to be limited just to video games either.
No, that's true.
Of course, that's the thing. People is looking at video games because video games are spectacular and are like very, but it's actually less in part of VR is having immersion. I mean, people is using it for teaching maths. They are teaching for teaching. VR is going to be best tool you can have.
Yeah,
also,
for sure.
you will have meeting rooms. Like, for example, we could be now hanging out in.
That's true. We could have our own avatars. We'd be chilling in our own room.
Yeah.
Instead of watching the screen. So
exactly. Yeah,
it's going to be huge in different ways.
Yeah, it's a bigger deal. This is an actual concern because when you start confusing your identity with this virtual world, which it may not be such a bad thing in a sense because it could encourage a higher self-worth when you have a game like that. But the kind of the scary thing about this is that the player in that virtual world could be earning actual money playing that game.
Exactly.
And so there's even a more incentive to be in that world because you can earn money versus the real world where it's potentially more difficult to earn money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't envision the end game of, by building real economies into virtual reality worlds where every player is going to be banking and rolling in Lamborghinis, you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
It'll be just like how video gaming is today. Only the hardcore players will get that reward, but the incentive is there.
Yeah.
Like you said, like kids these days, I guess the incentive is to top leaderboards essentially, or be first to a goal, be the first guy to rock that full armor set, right? That's the incentive structure. So to get the in-game glory and the social, it's the same rules that apply to real life are in the virtual life. The same social structure.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing that you spend a lot of time into virtual reality world, it doesn't mean that you're not learning useful skills that you can use in your real life.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, I learned how to speak English. I learned. Eventually, I became the officer of warlocks, and then the officer of paladins, and I was like having responsibilities and learning how to manage a team, how to they should behave in
such a good point.
Monster. So it's like you're learning how to roll, how to do things that you will later on use in your life.
That's a good point.
You're learning teamwork after all. And that's very important skill, I think.
And even something like that, that a huge piece of education that lacks, at least here in the United States, as far as our education, is financial knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And in games like World of Warcraft, you learn how to manage your finances real quick.
That's the thing. I mean, back in the day in World of Warcraft, you had brokers, like people who will just spend a huge amount of hours in front of the action house, redoing value of all the items just so they can earn more gold and then sell those gold.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I spend that time. I know that people is doing it in a way more immersive way than I am.
That's crazy. So they had brokers kind of like assess value of like armor and.
Well, it's like an auction, right? It's an auction house. So
it's an auction house. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can speculate with whatever you want. For example, you can buy linen cloth, all the linen cloth in the auction house, and then you repost it all that you got for expensive price. So the next one who's going to buy is only going to find your linen cloth this
interesting
value. So it was already happening. I mean, it's not new. NFTs are not new. It's just another level of way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people attribute the creation of Bitcoin to World of Warcraft in a way.
Do they really?
I do. As a World of Warcraft, just the idea of getting human beings familiar with the idea of a digital currency.
Oh, for sure.
Like World of Warcraft. I mean, there's other games.
Yeah, there's been prototypes to virtual currencies before, like
before
Golden.
Bitcoin.
Before Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin is. It's going to take a while for the mass, the mainstream to adopt it. But gamers,
we're okay with it.
We're cool with it.
Yeah, sure.
We value gold pretty highly, especially if you're really into that game.
Yeah.
So
I remember growing up, playing Nintendo, playing NES. There was a lot of words that I didn't know. I mean, my first language was Spanish, by the way, and I learned English going to school. But a lot of the vocabulary that I learned was from video games.
Yeah,
I didn't know what. I didn't know what select meant. I didn't know what ammo was.
Yeah,
I didn't know ammo was short for ammunition. True. There's a lot of vocabulary in video games that teach players, these new words.
Yeah.
And then not only that, I mean, you take that to the next level, the economy of a game.
Yeah,
it teaches you how to earn,
how to
save, and then purchase. Like you can't just purchase everything any time that you want, right?
Exactly.
It starts instilling these values into the gamer.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm pro gaming all the way.
Oh yeah, of course.
Obviously, but there are some people who have died playing video games, right? But that's an extreme case, right? That's like extremely rare.
I mean, there's always going to be people who dies of an excessive of something.
Yeah.
You can die of just drinking water if you just
drink too much water.
It's true.
It's just, I mean, when I was a kid, I played World of Warcraft 72 hours in a row. Never repeated it ever again because it was just so painful.
Yeah.
So if you see that it's like something that you want to enjoy and just die playing, I mean,
yeah,
it's up to you, right? It's not like a huge problem in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, I mean, obviously gaming is going to go to another level with virtual reality, but blockchain.